Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you once again for joining us for what's actually going to be the last in this sort of lockdown series of webinars that I've been running since 5th of May. I will still be doing webinars, but just not quite on such a frequent basis as, fortunately for me, my paid client work has picked up now, which is fantastic. Before we get started, I want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors for this event. We have socialhire.com, a social media agency focused on generating business leads for B2B small businesses such as consultancies, recruitment businesses, training companies, and business coaches. There is a link to their website in one of the follow-up emails, and you can certainly book a call with them. And I know Tony Restall from Social Hire well. I wouldn't trust many other people with my LinkedIn login, but I would with these people. And then BVAA, British Valve and Actuator Association. You guys are sponsored, I think, 3 events now, which is fantastic. Thank you. The British Valve and Actuator Association is a member association for over 200 UK businesses in the valve engineering and manufacturing sectors, supporting these guys with training, with standards, with networking and legislation. The latter of the bit, legislation being all important at the moment with Brexit coming up and all these sorts of things. So really, it's a fantastic organisation. Thanks again for the support. So today, I'm thrilled to be joined by a very special guest who I will introduce in just a couple of moments. Incidentally, if you have a chat box on your screen and you want to minimize it, there's a small arrow to the right and that will hide it. The chat will open partway through the presentation. If you have questions for Ollie, stick them in the chat room. And what we'll do is I will read, well, hopefully all of them, but if I can't read all of them, I'll read some of them, and then Ollie will answer them in the last 20 minutes of the session. So a lot of you know who I am because you're regulars on my sessions. Tim Guest, ex-managing director. I ran a business-to-business engineering company, engineering distribution, and I left on the 31st of January this year, 4 or 5 weeks before the coronavirus hit. So good timing on that respect, but a bad timing if you're looking to launch a business that relies upon social interaction, training, public speaking. My business is Consulting 51 Limited. It's just myself. I don't intend to make it any more people. I do business strategy, leadership mentoring, non-executive director work. I'm a qualified chartered director, having taken all the Institute of Director exams. And I like to work with open-minded business leaders and owners who really want to grow their business and step out of the processes and basically start working on more strategic type roles. Now, let's introduce our host. Oh, before I do it, I just want to go through some stats actually, because this is the final webinar. So I've been doing these for 12 weeks now. When lockdown first started, I hated April. I don't mind admitting I got mentally quite down. My work dropped off a cliff. I was trying to run a very, very substandard homeschool. It wasn't a good month, April. I thought, shit, this is going to go on for a long time. What can I do? So I signed up for a webinar platform and I wanted to put on a free webinar every single week on a topic. And so far we've done 12 weeks. We've done 8 webinars on topics ranging from mental health to the economy, to artificial intelligence. They've been fantastic and they're all available to watch online free of charge. We've had 570 minutes of webinars and we've reached out to over 620 individual participants. So I want to say thank you to all those guys who've actually taken part in it. I never could have dreamed of having 261 people watching me in my front room doing a webinar when I started this. So on to Ollie. Now, Ollie sent me a bio, or Ollie's agent sent me a bio, and I was like, wow, this is like amazing stuff on here. 2 pages of stuff that literally anyone would be proud to achieve, even a fraction of that. So I said, can we have a few bullet points, please? Because if I read that full bio, I'm going to be here all day. So Ollie is embarked on Operation Desert Storm in Iraq. He completed the SAS Special Forces selection process, qualified as a Special Forces combat frogman, qualified as a submersible dive vessel pilot, which is amazing. You're probably known very well for being one of the directing staff on Channel 4's SAS Who Dares Wins, where he's been involved since 2015. Published the Sunday Times bestseller Breakpoint in 2019. Published the Sunday Times bestseller Battle Ready in 2020. If you haven't read it, it's a fantastic book, and there is a link to the book in one of the follow-up emails, so don't miss that. He founded the supplement brand Battle Ready Fuel, and he also founded the corporate training brand Breakpoint, which is where he's doing this webinar from today. So why am I running this session on teamwork? Well, anyone who's worked with me will know that corporate culture, values, and teamwork kind of all go hand in hand. Any of my clients I work with, it's all about the team, building a team. How can the team work better together? How can we incentivize the team? My ex-company was called Zodale, and we went on a huge transformation of the team at Zodale, where when I left, comments were, this is the best team we've ever had working here. Everyone got on well. Everybody knew what they had to do. They knew their place in the team. People didn't used to come to me with their groans and gripes. They used to come with me telling me how well they're doing and what good stuff they're doing. This was brilliant. But in 2019, we were smashing targets every single quarter. We were having company barbecues. We were brewing beer on the site for our employees. We took people out for meals. It was great. And of course, we were all in the office together. Now, I've been involved in teams when times get tough. And when I'm saying tough, I mean redundancies, no bonuses, pay cuts. So that's tough from a corporate sort of world. I think when we come back after this period of lockdown, of furlough, of people basically working in challenging environments from home, we're going to see good teams start to fracture. But as Ollie will tell you, when time gets tough, the team really, really needs to come together. And we think we've had it hard in business. I'm sure in Ollie's military career, he's had times far harder than any of us could even understand, where if your team is not rock solid, you are going to die, and potentially other people are going to die. So on that note, I would like to pass over to Ollie, and the stage is yours, Ollie, to carry with your presentation. I will mute myself.
Tim, thanks for the very kind intro there. I'd just like to say hello to everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And a big thank you to Consultant 51, especially Tim. It's a pleasure to be working with you on this. I am extremely passionate about these topics. And to that end, I have a lot of information for you to get through today. But don't worry, I don't want you to sit there taking notes, because I'm going to make sure that everyone gets a copy of these slides as in PDF format. I'll send those on to Tim so that you can give me your full attention. So listen, surviving as a team when times get tough. Listen, I have a view of, obviously, I mean, the talk is about surviving as a team, but really, I always look at everything I do and everything I've done operationally as well. You always have to get to source, okay? That's where you need to deal with it. Because if you start dealing with stuff on the surface, if you don't get to source, then basically you'll end up with problems further down the track. When I say source, that means you, me, everyone, each individual. We look at building the foundation before we look at adding stuff on top. Because if you haven't got the root structures for growth and development, then the tree will fall over. It's as simple as that. So really how this presentation is structured today is really about how you can be the best version of yourself, how you can really start to act as a team, regardless of whether you're in isolation or not. You know, lockdown doesn't mean shutdown. And regardless of whether you're on furlough or not, now is the perfect opportunity to set some disciplines in place that will stand you in good stead for when we go back to, I'm not even going to say normal, because I don't believe the world is going to go back to normal. And the more we fight for it to be how it was before, the more you'll get frustrated and chasing something you're not going to find. So it's about being dynamic. It's about hitting the ground running and being a situational chameleon. Right, well, listen, I'm not going to, like I say, I've got a lot of information. I'm not going to go on too much about myself. Some of you may have seen me on SAS Who Dares Wins on Channel 4. I don't take my credibility from being a celebrity. I'm still not comfortable with that word, to be quite honest. I take my kudos from my heritage, and that is my credibility. And I want to share that with you today. So very quickly, it would be rude of me not to give you a bit of a presentation or a bit of an intro to myself, some stuff that those who haven't read my book won't know before I sort of launch into my recommendations. So there you go. As you can see, Breakpoint, Tim sort of introduced it there. Breakpoint is something that's very dear to my heart. I've been came up with that dream back well before the TV show, and it's something that I wanted to achieve. It was to operate a business where we basically helped others. And I'm not going to go too much into that because it's interweaved throughout the presentation. So anyway, I joined the Royal Marines when I was 18 years old. Went to Desert Storm, like Tim said. To be quite honest, I got pretty bored. I had quite a traumatic and crazy upbringing. For me, I was in a state of mind where I wanted to chase chaos. I wanted to chase danger. I wanted to be at the coalface of death every day. I know it sounds crazy for me to talk like that now, but it was really the frame of mind and the mindset I was in, and certainly a perfect mindset for a Special Forces soldier. So I came back from Iraq, and to be quite honest, I was disillusioned. I wanted to be back at war every day, and it was a choice for me to leave or not. So it was actually an officer of mine from Desert Storm that said, look, if you leave, you'll regret it for the rest of your life, because I do believe you have what it takes to pass Special Forces selection. He gave me the confidence I needed, and at 24 years old, I went for Special Forces selection, very doubtful of myself, to be quite honest. But then I was one of 5 out of 250 that started the course originally 6 months prior. When I passed the SAS selection, I then went on to join what's known as the Special Boat Service. So I went on to further training. And look at that. Why did I join the SBS? Look at the toys. Toys are amazing. So I was a SDV, submersible dive vessel pilot. Combat frogman, put it all together, helicopters, submarines, and water. It was just the perfect thing for me, or so I thought it was. To be quite honest, I joined the Royal Marines and wasn't satisfied, wasn't fulfilled. I joined the Special Forces thinking it would bridge that gap, and something wasn't right. It just didn't. I don't mind saying that, for something that should have ticked all the boxes and is, in some people's view, something that they could never achieve, but in their wildest dreams, it didn't complete me. I left in 2000, looking for something that did satisfy me. Bounced around the UK doing certain stuff here, there, and everywhere, and then the war ended in Iraq, or so they thought it was. It was really the start, and I went over to Iraq, and I was working on major infrastructure projects for 6 years. Being attacked on a regular basis, which was a lot more stressful, should I say, than being in the Special Forces, because you didn't have the support network, you didn't have anything around you. And to be quite honest, I thought I was going to come back from Iraq in a coffin. Luckily, I left in 2007, and I found myself, after a period of time, finding out about an organisation called the Grey Man, who were basically rescuing kids from child prostitution and slavery in Thailand. Now, I used to complain as a kid for probably not getting a hug from a dad. These kids are sold by their families, their loved ones, into a life of slavery and prostitution. And that hit me hard, and I wanted to be a part of trying to prevent that. We went into Thailand. This is one of the busts we did. This is the one that actually got us into trouble, caused an international incident. The Thai government stated there was no such thing going on. Next thing we know, we had to escape out of Thailand, across the Burmese border, and back to safety. The organisation had to close down straight away, and I was left with nothing, and it was the worst part of my life. But one thing I did take that you cannot buy, you cannot be given, and that was something very special that I learned. And that was the wealth, the fulfillment, the satisfaction of helping other people less fortunate than you. And that for me was something that was, at that point then, I realised was so dear to my heart, and is now the DNA of what I do at Breakpoint. I change people's lives. To that end, I came back in 2014 and set my company up, or started setting up my company Breakpoint. And before I knew it, I was thinking, how am I going to get exposure for a business? You can have the best idea in the world, but if you don't have exposure, then, you're fighting a losing battle. And then we got the opportunity of the TV show SAS Who Dares Wins, which has been a beautiful vehicle. And I say vehicle because I've used it very well to establish this, and I'm sat here today in the Breakpoint Academy. However, I'm not out to be a celebrity. I'm out to be a businessman and to help other people. So that is my main focus. So let's get straight into it then. First of all, I want to talk about mission statements. Now, listen, I can guarantee you, and this is fact, I can guarantee you because I've done it. If you follow what I say today, if you do the things that I say to you, each little 1% will increase your chances of increasing your productivity, performance, and your outcomes in life. Fact, that is fact. Now, it's simple. It's really simple. But the thing is, because it's simple, doesn't make it easy. It requires self-discipline. But if you stick to the path and the process and try to disengage what's going up here and follow your heart, you'll succeed. Now, my mission statement, for the company. Now, I think it's really important. Those of you that work for a company, have your own companies, you should definitely have a mission statement. If you work for a company, you should know what the mission statement for that company is, Now, it's really important for a company to have an organization to have a mission statement. But listen, the bigger the organization, then the more that statement is lost on the lower tier employees. So we've done this with corporate structures. We've done it with individuals, that you must have a mission statement that supports the group mission statement, but it means something to you. It means something to you personally, so that you're not getting out of bed on a Monday morning because you've got to pay the bills. You've got to pay for the finance on the car. You've got to pay for the kids to go to school. That should not be your motivation. So my mission statement is to create a globally identified brand recognized for the positive growth and development of others. That's my company mission statement, Now I have a personal mission statement, and this is what I'm saying. This talk today, this presentation, this is a call to action for everyone. And at the end of this presentation, I'm asking you to do exactly what I talk about. And I guarantee you, honestly, you do it, it will increase your performance and productivity and also your happiness. So to create a globally identified brand recognized for the positive growth and development of others. Now this is my personal one that supports the group mission statement to inspire others to break the chains of limitation. Now for me, and it might not mean the same, it probably doesn't mean the same to you, I get out of bed in the morning and that is my mantra, That makes me really want to get to work and do something and make a difference every day, Every day is a new challenge, every day is a new opportunity, regardless of the outside world. So mission statements, really important, and I'm going to go on to just sort of the structure of mission statements and how you can actually come up with your own. So importance of a personal mission statement. A mission statement defines an individual's purpose, why they exist, and their reason for being. I mean, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Shouldn't we know all that stuff? Why are we put on this earth? We're not put on this earth just to work, breathe, eat, and sleep. There's more to it than that. We should all be achieving. So a mission statement defines an individual's purpose, why they exist, and their reason for being. Now, when you come up with a mission statement, it needs to be clear and concise. You can look at my mission statement there for the company and for the personal. It's not got any fluff around it. It's to the point. It states everything that it should state. My purpose, why I exist, and the reason for being. And every person that works in this academy, works at Breakpoint, is conversant with that message. And each person as well in this academy, we've got about 20 employees. Each one of them has their own mission statement to support that one. Now, we work with another company called Aston Barclay. They have actually put this in. Every department has their own mission statement that supports the group mission statement. They increased their revenue by 32% in the first year of doing so. I'm not going to take all the 32%, but at least 30 was because of me. I'm only joking, but it makes a difference, Clear and concise. It has to define a purpose. What is the purpose? What is your purpose? What is the company's purpose? It states an intention. Extremely important. And I have to say the last one, really important. It has to fill you with excitement and enthusiasm. All right, it's no use saying, oh, blah, 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 and it doesn't spark any fires, it doesn't spark any kind of excitement. It has to create enthusiasm. So make sure when you come up with these mission statements and everything else we talk about today, it is for you. You do it for you, not because it sounds good to someone else, okay? All right, we're going to go on to goal setting. Again, another extremely important aspect of your performance, okay? If you don't have a goal, when something happens in your life, like Corona, like isolation, you become a victim of your circumstances because you've got nothing bigger pulling you through, okay? You've got nothing bigger that is greater than the situation you're currently in, okay? So you then become a victim of the situation. So it's extremely important, and especially now, to start thinking about a goal, personal, professional, whatever it is. And I'd say for both, definitely for both, to have a goal that is greater than your current circumstances. So goal setting. A vision without a goal is merely an illusion. So if you have the vision, that's where it starts. If you don't put it into a process, if you don't put it into something that you've got to follow, it's just an illusion, isn't it? And then a new illusion will come and drown the other one out, and it's just a vision of dreams. Okay, so this is about coming up with something that means something to you, putting a system and process in play that is disengaged from the program and is following the heart. Okay, so a dream with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down becomes a plan. A plan backed by discipline and process becomes reality. Okay, that's what I said. That's so important. The last bullet point there. A plan backed by discipline and process becomes reality. Because basically, if you don't put it into process, you are dealing with emotion, you are dealing with motivation that comes and goes, and you won't achieve it. Okay? We are victims of habit. We keep falling back into that repeat habit loop of yesterday if we don't follow a process that breaks that loop. Okay? Everything I'm talking about here, I've gone through the ringer on. Okay? When I came out of the military, I fell apart. 10 years, I bounced all over the world, abusing alcohol, abusing drugs, and I was a mess. From the outside looking in, it was happy Ollie, he's great, you know, blah, blah, blah. To everyone I told, I'm doing great. It wasn't the case, okay? It wasn't until I was honest with myself and I put myself into self-isolation in 2015, where the contents of that book come from, that I started to change things up here, which reflected on my outside world. This is that very process. So please do pay respect to it, because you can add it to your life. And regardless of where you're at, whether you think, oh, I'm fine at the moment, we should be on a continuous improvement plan, okay? Water becomes stagnant with 75% water. Think about that. Okay, teamwork, really important at the moment. A lot of people say, well, I'm isolated, I don't need to bother about teamwork. There's never been more of an important time than to establish a network of teammates that support each other. Okay, when I left the military, I took that for granted. Very quickly when I left, I was left, all the framework to my everyday had fallen apart. My support structure, which were my mates, had gone. I took that for granted. And people are now in a similar situation to that. So really, you need to establish that teamwork if it's not established. I'm going to go through a few things, a few tips, and a few things that really mean something to me that can really establish and help you to use that teamwork to the best of its ability to support you and everyone else. No two people are the same. Always remember that I run a company, and when I ask someone to do something that I haven't got time to do, if they don't do it the same as me, I do get a little frustrated. But I have to stop that frustration, because no two people are the same. I own the business. I'm passionate about it. You know, just because you do it a certain way doesn't mean that everyone is the same as you. They're not. No two people are the same. So it's about appreciating in your team strengths and weaknesses. You get analytical people, you get driven people, you get empathetic people, and you get analytical. I think I said that one. Creative, that's the one I missed out. And you get someone with a dominant strength in all those fields. Even in a special forces team, you know, we had a range of different people. No one person was the same. Okay, so it's about appreciating people's strengths and weaknesses. And if you ask them to do something you know they're going to struggle with, just appreciate that. Every team member is a leader. I'll revert back to the Special Forces team, a four-man team. Okay, you had a demolitions expert, you had a paramedic, you had a sniper, you had a team leader, you had all sorts of skills. Every person was a subject matter expert, which made each individual a leader. Okay, if you start being sort of this archaic type leadership, which is more dictatorship, you will lose the interest and the respect of every member of your team, and you will not get the performance out of them you expect. Fact. Okay, so that's about allowing other people to take the glory for their wins, okay, and pushing people forward when they have done well, and let them take the kudos for what they've achieved. 2 is 1, but 1 is none. We used to work in very small four-man teams, but we never used to break down to any less than 2. So important at the moment for mental health and also for accountability, okay? Whether you're on furlough or what, or whether if you're sitting there all day long and you're just looking at your phone on social media, your new best mate is the fridge, and you're just watching Jeremy Kyle all day long, you need to change that, okay? And the way to do that is establish a buddy system. So that is at least one person that keeps you accountable to a daily and weekly goal, okay? So you have your long-term goal, you've got to have your long-term goal, and that can be broken down, okay? When you come up with a goal, I'll go back to that slide. Well, I won't, I'll talk about it, but nothing was ever great unless at some point you doubted your ability to achieve it. Come up with a goal that scares the shit out of you, okay? Don't come up with a goal that you know you can achieve, and that's the way we're wired. We're wired to go for things we know we can achieve and accomplish because we're scared of failure, okay? If you've got a goal, it should scare you, but break it down into bite-sized chunks that are achievable. You get to milestone 1, you grow, you learn, you move on, okay? So this is about establishing some KPIs, key performance indicators, with some teammates, social, there could be more friends, there could be work colleagues, whatever it is, that keep you accountable and keep you in check to your goals. And also, it's that one person that is checking up on you. Are you okay? I get calls, those that know Foxy off the TV show with me, he's always sending me text messages, I send him one back, just randomly, you okay? It's always good to check in. And don't fall into the fault of the default answer is always, oh yeah, I'm great. You have to think about trying to get beyond the, oh, I'm great conversation. Because a lot of time that's just the default answer. And if you think something's not quite right, someone's habits are changing, something's just not right, you need to softly sort of broach that topic. So really important. And there I say, accountability delivers. Once you know that someone else is relying on you to deliver something, there's 70, 80% more chance of you achieving it, okay? Someone else that you're going to let down instead of yourself. Taking care of your team comes before all. Now listen, you have your mission statement, you have your mission, okay? You're on your mission, everything's falling apart. What do you think you do? Do you keep on going? Do you keep on chasing the mission? No. You forget the mission. For that moment, you forget the mission, you recalibrate, regroup, and you make sure the team is robust and happy before you move forward. And that might mean just, look, do you think we're going on the wrong path? It's about allowing everyone in that team to have some input where you think we are, think you're going, and any problems that you've been facing on the path so far. So really, it's about consolidating everything, discussing with the team about progress, have a debrief, and then before you can't move forward until the team is fully robust. And it might mean you change direction, but that is the whole purpose of regrouping, recalibrating before you move forward. Investment in others is investment in you, okay? That speaks for itself. If I spend some time, put my time and energy into another teammate, you're going to get that back. And also, if you're on a joint goal, what's the success of that goal? It's the team achieving that goal. It's the organization, it's the group achieving the goal. Not you personally. You got there as a group. So invest in those around you, even if you don't like them. The group mission statement or the group or the company doesn't really care if you like each other. It's about getting the job done. Special forces teams, we never used to spend all our time together. We didn't necessarily like the man next to us, but when it came to the mission, the ego gets left at the door, everything gets left there, and we move forward and achieve our goals. Communication is the lifeblood of team cohesion. Okay, communication is so important these days, and a lot of people, especially when you're talking to someone that's a higher rank than you, a bit higher up the pay scale, some people tend to fall apart, and they're scared to ask questions. They're scared to ask what the message was. So if you're the communicator, make sure that you're communicating at a level that that person absorbs it. Don't just say it so it makes sense to you. And also, because people are sort of furloughed at the moment, communication is by phones, etc., etc. That communication, emails, everyone has to be kept in the loop about every development and everything that's happening. So, and that's, again, this comes into the buddy-buddy system. If you know stuff that, someone hasn't been at a Zoom meeting or whatever meeting, make sure that they've got that information. Don't just take it for granted. Now, listen, I'm going to talk about something that is really important, really dear to me, and this changed my life. 2015, put myself into self-isolation, like I say, came up with this. Or I did the process that is really the source of that book. And this is so important at the moment. Listen, I teach this stuff outside of lockdown. This is stuff I teach anyway, but I think this is more amplified now because it's all about self-discipline. Morning routine is so important. You take yourself to the day, don't allow the day to come to you, because if you do, it will walk all over you. Okay, if you're the type of person that's in the bed every day, really enjoying that duvet, really enjoying the warmth or the cuddles from your partner, alarm goes off, snooze, 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 snooze. If you keep on doing that, I tell you now, you will make decisions based on the snooze button, okay? And also, if you're the type of person that's getting out of bed every day because it's the last moment you've got left that you have to actually now get out, then I'll tell you now, the day is going to walk all over you, mentally and physically. Morning routine, really important to me. You don't have to follow this, but establish a routine that suits you and take yourself to the day, all right? Don't allow the day to come to you. First, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. I don't need to set the alarm because I'm programmed now that I go to bed at 10, get up at 5. 7 hours sleep is perfect for me. Okay, I'll go downstairs, a cleansing drink. The reason I say that, you've just gone through a period of 8 hours, 7 or 8 hours of fasting. Okay, your body is absorbent. It's a sponge. It wants some nutrients. It wants some quality. So if you come downstairs and whack a coffee into you, let me tell you now, coffee, when you get energy from coffee, that is your body fighting the poison. There is no energy in coffee. It's your body's reaction to the chemical that is coffee. I like coffee. I have one later on in the day, but don't make it the first thing that you have. Even if it's a glass of water, I have warm water with a whole range of things, but just warm water, freshly squeezed lemon, okay? And that's what I have 30 minutes before anything else. I have 2 pints of water if you want, but if nothing else, just water, okay? That is really important. Really sets your system up. I meditate. Okay, meditation, a lot of people go, oh, you're ex-special forces, you can't meditate. That's stuff they do at Glastonbury, that's hippie stuff. Tell you now, once I learned the power of meditation, that changed my life overnight. Meditation for me is my focused attention at my intentions. So I spend 20 to 30 minutes on a guided meditation. You can go onto YouTube, okay, put in any type of meditation that you want, put guided meditation for any subject that you want. There's so many resources out there, and you can follow a guided meditation. Learning stillness of mind has so many benefits to every aspect of your life. I can't tell you. You imagine when your mind is absolutely going crazy, the ability to clear that noise in your head is absolutely phenomenal. Okay, it will increase your productivity, it will increase your vision. I spend time, I think about long-term goals, medium-term goals, and what I'm going to do that day. And it's just really about having that time which is focused on me. Meditation, 20, 30 minutes. Exercise, so important. All these things are important, but exercise, doesn't matter what it is. You don't have to be like some CrossFit expert. You don't have to go and do SAS selection. You don't have to go and thrash yourself till you're barely breathing. It's just about getting some exercise. That could be a walk outside, take the dog, do whatever. But exercise, so important. The way we're wired, We're wired to avoid stress. We're wired to avoid anything that is going to make us feel uncomfortable. That's the whole process of breakpoint. It's about pushing through the short-term discomfort for a long-term gain. I want a longer, happier, healthier life. Is that not enough of a selling point? I think so. So exercise, and if it's easy to say, "Oh, I haven't got time," this is the most important stuff. If you need to make sure that you are performing at the best of your ability. You have to make sure that you're giving yourself the best opportunity to be the best version of you. Okay. By the time I've got in 7 o'clock, I sit at my desk and I go through all the emails that I probably haven't managed to do the day before, and I send all the emails that require that further motivation to get other people going at 7 o'clock. My phone is not going off. No one's on WhatsApp. Okay. And by this point as well, I'd like to add, I've not even turned on my phone. It's still on flight mode. Okay. This is me time, and it's so important that you establish some me time. If you've got kids or anything, you don't have to do it exactly like this, but you need to establish 10, 20 minutes initially, really start to focus on you. And then by 8 o'clock, attack plan about the day, my goals, reconfirm my goals, and accountability. So I speak to the people that I'm involved with the projects that week, that day, and I make sure everyone's accountable to what we're going to achieve that day, including myself. Okay? If you don't do that, you've only got yourself to let down. And although that is quite damaging in itself, it's easier to do than let someone else down. Well, I hope it is anyway. 8:30, by 8:30, I'm RFD, ready for domination. Okay, it's time to attack the day. I take myself to the day and I dominate. I don't care what happens. I don't care what comes my way. I can take it. I can tackle it because I've gone through my routine and I own that day. Okay, every day. And that is all about performing beyond limitation. Okay, which is endless. Your potential is endless. Everyone on this call, your potential is absolutely endless. Okay, daily success strategy. Again, these mean something to me. So in general, first of all, talked about it, morning routine. Okay, establish your own morning routine. Silver lining. I don't care what day you've had, all right? I don't care. I've had some terrible days, but what do I focus on? I focus on something that's good about that day. We go through the dinner table every night. I did it last night. Sometimes we're in bad moods, we've had a bad day at work. William's had a bad day at school. He's only 11 years old. And sometimes he's the one that now instigates it. Round the dinner table, what are the three best things about your day today? And everyone says 3 things. And I tell you now, the mood change is phenomenal. And it's such a good thing for your kids to get involved with as well. Always look for the silver lining, because regardless of your circumstance, there's always an opportunity. There's always a silver lining. I've been to countries where kids are drinking puddles for drinking water. When I turn the tap on at home, I'm like that, oh my God, I can't believe I can shower in this. I can't believe I can drink this from a tap, clean water. We even flush our toilets with it. It's crazy, isn't it? But if you can't find something to be, don't give me the excuse that you can't find something to be grateful for. Roof over your head. There is so many things, okay? And I've already gone through that. Gratitude, really important. Have an attitude of gratitude, because if you focus on the negativity, if you're the type of person that it has the language in your head that is, it would happen to me, and I can't believe my luck, I'm always getting the bad luck, you'll get more of the same. It's a fact. You need to change that language. And if you've got people around you doing the same thing, you need to stop them from doing it and pull them up on it. I've got there's people in this office, and today, would happen to me, wouldn't it? I was like, you've got to change that language. You are not doing it, you just invite more of the same. Visualization. This is such a long topic for me, and I've had such phenomenal experience with visualization. Visualize where you want to be, not where you are, okay? And if you are where you are is great, that's fine, but make it better. Visualize it as if you've been there. Visualize it as if you felt the emotion, everything. You've gone through the scenario, okay? Close your eyes. Use that with your morning routine and meditation. Just close your eyes and visualize a scenario. Be creative. Add the emotion, the senses, the smells, the touch, just add everything to it. Visualization is so, so important. And all of this, honestly, visualization, I could sit here and talk to you all day about visualization and the power of it, okay? An obstacle a day. Some people say that, oh, I couldn't achieve my goals because there was an obstacle in the way. The obstacles are the way, okay? Just understand that wherever you want to get to, you're going to come up against resistance, both mentally and physically, and also by other people, okay? It's about pushing through the obstacles. Short-term discomfort for long-term gain. That's everything we teach at Breakpoint. Embrace the discomfort for a better day, okay? So when you're faced with something uncomfortable, if it's in the way of your goal, you have to push through it. Because if you fall back and think, oh, you'll never get anywhere. The F word, get used to it. Success is a series of failures. And believe me, if you're glued to Instagram looking at everyone's perfect life, you need to put that phone away. Because everyone on Instagram, everyone on social media is faking perfection. I will never fake perfection. My books, everything I talk about is all about the mistakes I made and what I learned from them. And I will keep making mistakes until the day I die, because I know I'm working when I'm making. If I'm not making mistakes, I'm not working hard enough. So failure is only if you bounce back from a goal that you want to achieve because you didn't achieve something by a certain time or point. It's about learning from it. It's a milestone of growth. Breathe, recalibrate, deliver. Okay, that means when you're in a stressful situation, what happens is cortisol increases. And that's usually because of erratic breathing. Okay, that then confuses you. Okay, you then make decisions and actions that really don't reflect anything positive. So when you find yourself in a stressful situation, take a second, breathe. It's about establishing a breathing pattern. That cortisol level will then decrease, and then it will offer you a mindset of clarity and not confusion. That's called recalibration. Once you've got that clarity, think about your goal, deliver, okay? But don't react from a mindset of confusion that is basically caused by a stressful situation. Again, that's another complex subject, but hopefully you understand it. Okay, and last thing, it's great having a morning routine. Think about your routine before you go to bed. Offload all that stuff, write it down what you want to do tomorrow, because if you go to bed with a mind full of stuff you need to do, you won't sleep. Sleep is so important. Okay, so plan tomorrow, what you want to achieve, what you need to do, write it down, pick it up in the morning. Once you've offloaded it, you've got a mindset full of creativity or potential for creativity and some good dreams. Okay, now is my call to action. So everyone that wants to improve, everyone that wants to change their life, everyone that believes what I'm saying can improve their lives, this is what I want you to do. First of all, I want you to create your own personal mission statement, okay? Your own personal mission statement that supports your company mission statement, or just something that could be like, I want to run a 5K race next year. I want to, whatever it is, come up with a personal mission statement, all right? So basically a goal. Well, that's basically a clearly defined and measurable goal. Okay, so come up with something that scares you. Don't forget, nothing was ever great unless at some point you doubted your ability to achieve it. Establish a buddy-buddy system. If you haven't got it already, establish one and have some set routines where you check in with each other. So very important, checking in with your buddies, all right? Make sure everyone's okay. Make sure you're okay. If you're not okay, talk. Define your morning routine. You don't have to follow mine, but define something where you take yourself to the day, okay? Don't allow the day to walk all over you. It's all about self-discipline. Join the Battle Ready 360 app. Me and Foxy have an amazing app, Mind, Body and Fuel. We've got loads of people on the app at the moment, and we've got loads of developments coming up. So check that out. It's on the App Store, iOS, and also on Android. Okay, invest in your copy of Battle Ready. I didn't write this to earn money. I wrote it to change people's lives. So please get your copy of it. Okay, that's the Battle Ready 360 app, me and Foxy. Got loads on there, mind, body, and fuel. So nutrition, exercises and mindset. We've got a very clever character assessment tool built into the app, which will actually tailor the program to suit your particular character. It's amazing. And loads of developments at the moment going on to make it even better. All right, that's me. All right. I didn't mention, don't forget to find my book. And now we've got time for some Q&A, I hope.
We have indeed. Thank you, Ollie. Yeah, the Q and the Q&A. A link to the book will actually be sent out in the one of the follow-up emails to Ollie's book. Thank you for that. That was fantastic. Right on the money as well. And Ollie and I spent a bit of time planning this presentation. And it's nice to speak to someone whose sort of way of doing things is quite similar to my own. A lot of this was new to me, which was brilliant. But had we kind of come into it from like sort of the polar opposite, it's not really going to be a good match. I was pleased to say that Ollie and I were a good match. So let me get Ollie back on the screen, and I will stay down the bottom. Okay. So we have some questions here. I like your comment about having a buddy. I think that's a great idea, particularly men. I mean, I've got loads of friends, but we don't tend to feel comfortable talking about how you're feeling. And I think it's that phrase, rather than how you doing, mate, you're all right. It's how are you feeling? How are you finding it? What you're struggling with? And really sort of opening up to people is really good. And I saw a quote on Instagram the other day saying, only those who care about you can hear you when you're quiet. And that's so true. I think, someone sitting there being quieter than normal, it's only the real friends who will know, are you okay? A bit quiet. And I think as business owners, leaders and managers, we can take that back into our teams, which kind of leads me on to the first question, which I would like to ask to Ollie. As a business manager or a business leader, if you run a team and you're slowly bringing people back from furlough, work is going to be very, very different to when they went away. How would you deal with those team members, and how would you sort of spot any potential conflicts and try and draw them together as a team?
I think there's going to be, that's a great question. I think there's going to be, any business owner is going to have to go through, there's a lot of work to do, I think. I know. You're going to have to start really changing that culture and make it a caring culture. And it's about getting that message. Don't expect everyone just to go back to work, sit at their desks and say, oh, there's a few changes.
Yeah.
You need to change that culture. You need to make sure that is established. You need to make sure that the language, the stigma about, the problem, a lot of the problem we see with the workforce is the fact that so many people are scared to put their hand up because they're scared when they do that, it's like, don't promote me.
Yeah.
People in general don't like to admit they've got problems because they think it's a weakness. And it's about trying to tackle that stigma. But, if you are a business owner, I think the buddy system and establishing some kind of check-in network really has to be established. A lot of the time it comes down to the person receiving the question, are you okay?
Yeah.
Because that person is the one that tends to put the block up, I don't want to talk, But really, the people getting that question have to understand the power of opening up. I spent 10 years trying to put on a brave face and smiling.
Yeah.
And the outside world, it worked really well. But my true feelings became a byproduct of the person I was trying to create. And that was just I caused myself a lot of trauma and a lot of heartache and a lot of mayhem for not just me, other people around me. It's because I simply wouldn't talk. I thought this alpha male, this prehistoric type alpha male stuff, you've got to take that down. It doesn't work. So you can't bluff it. You can't bluff it.
I think a lot of it comes down to the way the question is asked. And so one of my voluntary roles is I'm a student mentor, and I like to work with sort of disadvantaged kids. One of the things I teach them is about questioning. And the power of questioning and different questions. And so if I walk in on a Monday on office and I see someone who I know talks an awful lot, I might say, right, John, good weekend. Yeah, because I don't want to get embroiled in a long conversation, very closed question. But if I really want to understand how someone's going through it, how are you feeling? How was it? Talk to me about the most difficult thing you found about lockdown, and why was it difficult? And I think if we can be training our managers and leaders to ask these questions and making the staff feel comfortable to answer them, then we'll be in a better place, really.
100%. And listen, we all know, whether our partners, whether our close friends, our work colleagues, we know when the energy changes.
Yeah.
So if you do get the answer, oh yeah, great. You need to softly, not a bull in a china shop, but you need to softly approach, try and get under the skin.
Or even the better one is, I'm fine. We had a psychotherapist on doing a session, and fine, F-I-N-E, stands for some completely different words rather than you're not really fine.
Yeah.
I have a brilliant question here from, sorry, we're going to say something?
Just on that one,
yep.
A check-in is like, give me a scale of 1 to 10, make it a bit of a check. Give me a scale of 1 to 10 of how fine you are then. You know.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, excellent.
You know, just anything, make it fun if you can, just whatever, just don't.
We got a great question here from someone who is a consultant in the NHS. Very well done to you guys recently, mate. Honestly, it's been fantastic. I know this guy, Andy. He's been a regular on the sessions. Hi, Ollie. I'm a consultant in the NHS and saw some amazing teamwork take place during the COVID-19 crisis. I would love this to continue, but already there have been the inevitable creep back to the way things were. Can you advise how best to maintain the momentum so this doesn't happen?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one because, like I said before, you know, humans, we are creatures of habit and we go back to our comfort zone. So, you know, really, you need to lock those kind of processes in. I think if you've had a good experience of brilliant teamwork in the past, you need to reflect that on that as much as possible and hold some sessions together about how you should, you know, if you see stuff going wrong that's creeping in, I think it's a good time really to have a bit of a group session and where you can not so much say, well, you're not pulling your weight or you're not, you know, it's about establishing some processes based on the good that you've done in the past. And have a really good debrief. You know, when we used to be Special Forces soldiers, everything that we used to do, the first thing we used to do was actually go into a hot debrief. Yeah. And that's not like baby oil but it's called a hot debrief because you're very fresh about what's just happened. So it's about all the time, you know, the longer you leave without having any kind of debrief or, you know, any kind of things that you're allowed to slip, if you don't have a debrief, they will continue to do so. People are creatures of habit. We always avoid stress, and the easy way out is always not the best way out. So I think really just have debriefs whenever you can.
Okay, good point. This leads me on to a question from Shane, and he said, to add to Andy's question, what really drives team cooperation and effectiveness? Stress, e.g. war or coronavirus, are obvious ones, but what other tricks can generate that level of commitment and hunger in teams in the business world?
Excellent leadership. Okay, that's what it's all about. I mean, listen, leadership, a lot of people have got it really confused and they find it quite complex and they're trying to follow this archaic system of how it used to be and you've got to be a dictator and blah, blah, blah. Being a good leader is about painting a picture or painting a picture in people's minds of what you want to achieve. And then it's about getting the rest of the team to then paint that for you and keeping them encouraged all the way until it's finished. Okay, so for me, that really comes down to good leadership. It's about being, providing motivation all the way along. And really, it's second to that, or I'd say parallel. It's about having that group mission statement. You know, if you have a department, people that you're close to working with, if everyone is driven by the same goal and the same mission statement, okay, and the reason why they're coming into work every day, you will get a lot more out of them as a group because you're all aiming for the same thing. If you've got a group of people there, you might be in a team, but they're all doing their own thing. You know, you're dealing with a group of individuals instead of a really consolidated group. So good leadership, enthusiasm as a team leader, maintain that enthusiasm, and also your mission statement and your sort of make sure everyone is goal driven.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, mission statements. And I can't emphasize enough how a personal mission statement and a personal set of values and principles is important. When I was running businesses, we'd always have a set of principles for the business and they help with decision making. Someone comes up with an idea. Does it fit into the principles of the business? Yes or no? If it's a yes, we do it. But having a personal set of values and principles really does help decision making and help guide you with what you want to do in life. It does take some time to do, and if you're married, sit down with your wife and even your kids and do it. I do recommend doing that. Alan has asked a very interesting question here. Fantastic presentation, guys. Thank you. Ollie, how do you keep yourself continually motivated, and how do you teach or practice resilience? I see resilience as key to maintaining positive long-term change, and also believe our children need to be taught it from an early age. How do you suggest we make ourselves and our teams more resilient?
Resilience for me comes from just having that, I talked about silver lining. I always focus on the positive. Resilience, again, for me, is about creating, I keep coming back to this, but creating that goal. Now, if I have a goal that is greater than my circumstance, I'm not overwhelmed by the situation, okay? So really, it's about having a goal that really drives you beyond anything that happens, You imagine us in war, for instance, and I use that because it's quite a dramatic analogy, but you imagine in war, you're on your way to a mission, someone gets shot, that's pretty dramatic. Yeah. It's not, all right, everyone stop, mate, someone's been shot, we need to stop. You carry on. You can't fall apart because someone's been shot. Your mission to get to the extraction point, or get to the hostage, and then get to the extraction point, overwhelmed with circumstances. So it's really about having a goal that is greater than anything that might come along and hit you from the side, okay? Second question there about motivation. I suffer with lack of motivation. Everyone does. There's not one person in this world, I tell you now, that doesn't have a roller coaster of motivation. It's one question you get asked a lot. Oh, why was not? You're not meant to be motivated. When you come to break the chains of your habit loop, okay? It's like me when I go out for a run in the morning, right? Sometimes I go for a run. Yeah, I can stay in. I can have a coffee. That seems a lot. Yeah. Why not have a coffee? And yeah, I've got a few emails that I did yesterday that I haven't done yesterday. My mind is cleverly trying to avoid stress, but I know that by going for that run is regardless of what happens that day, when I do some exercise, even if I've had a terrible day, if I've done some exercise at the start of the day, I feel absolutely amazing.
You feel so much better, yeah.
And that's so important. What happens when I have that negativity? I'm aware of what's going on because I understand what's going on in my brain. I know how we're built, how we're wired. So as soon as I start hearing that devious little message saying it's trying to distract me from any kind of stress. So really, in moments of lack of motivation, that's where the process comes into play. And you have to follow the process and disengage from the mind. All right? We overthink. We all overthink far too much. Once you set it in stone, you've got to follow a process that disengages the emotion and follows the heart. And, it is quite complex, but really, honestly, that Battle Ready book is really about that process, about establishing a process that is void of your emotion.
Yeah. And I think what and Alan's question about teaching kids resilience, it is tough. My children grow up in a very nice environment, and my worry is having mentored kids who've been in and out of foster homes all their life. These are some of the most resilient kids I've ever met, and I'm trying to sort of coach them. Put that on your CV. Don't be ashamed of your background. The fact that you've survived and come out the other side of these challenges is going to make you very, very resilient. Whereas children that kind of have it, particularly in our days, it's very easy to mollycoddle your children and not make them resilient. So it's a constant challenge for parents, I think.
It is, man. Honestly, actually, we came up with this topic yesterday in the office, and really, I can't, if you're the type of person that does everything for your kids,
yeah,
you tidy the room for them, you follow after them. Honestly, you're making life so hard for them. You're making life later on so hard for them. And she'd kill me for saying it, but listen, my girlfriend Laura, she's a bit that way, because her mother did it with her. But now I make sure William, if he leaves stuff, he has to go and put it away in the dishwasher. His bedroom has to be tidy. We make sure that he is responsible for everything, his own stuff, basically. So, and also the fact, kids are meant to fall over, okay? Kids are meant to cry, it's not about every time running to you and cuddling them, make them a little bit robust, So I just think, really, when it comes to kids, You know, if there's a set of open arms, they will run to it like a bull in a china shop. You know, it's about being a little bit resistant to that, and making sure that you set some disciplines in play where they've got to do stuff for themselves. It helps them make their own life.
Got two more questions here. One of them is a slightly personal one for you, Ollie. Having lived most of your life in the shadows on deniable operations and such, you could probably go into a pub or supermarket anywhere, and for all intents and purposes, you're just a normal guy. Now, I would assume if you go out, a lot of people will recognize you. How have you transitioned from that, life from being below the line to now most people do know who you are? How have you transitioned to that from a personal point of view?
Yeah, it's a good question, because it was extremely tough at the start, really, really tough at the start. And I failed to see the purpose. And this comes down to purpose, all right? I failed to see the purpose in why I was doing that. The purpose for me at that time in the early stages was because it was going to bring exposure to my business. Yeah. I realized that, how many people, I didn't actually realize the power of TV until I decided the TV. Yeah. But we then, the people that we're inspiring, okay, and also in line with my mission statement, which is basically to create a globally identified brand recognized for the positive growth and development of others. That, for me, overwhelmed my personal thoughts about coming, about being a little bit uncomfortable out of the shadows. So yeah, it was hard to adapt to, but once I realized it was a lot more in line with my purpose, I want to be looked back on as not, the Special Forces was a small part of my life, really. It's 6 years. Yeah. I've done a lot more after the Special Forces. It's almost like the Special Forces prepared me for the biggest war ahead, and that was the war with myself. For me, it's all about purpose. My purpose and my goal overwhelmed my personal opinion of that discomfort.
You don't also look like the sort of chaps that's going to attract too many celebrity stalkers who are going to follow you around with autographs and pencils. I'm sure you could fight them off if needed. Now, last question, which I want to get in here. I know we're running over time, but I think it's a very interesting question. What's Ollie's view of women in the Special Forces, and does he feel they face any additional challenges because of gender, and does he see a future where an equal amount of women and men are enlisted to the Special Forces?
That's a very expansive question, but the thing is, I haven't got the, looking at what's happened at the moment, I think, first of all, when you look at how many people, as in, I think, women are actually in frontline troops at the moment, and then you imagine how many, like a very small percentage from the military when it comes to males actually go for selection, and a very small amount of people that go through selection come out the other side and actually get qualified. So I think when you look at numbers and ratios and stuff like that, I think they're up against it anyway, because we haven't got the influx. It's not, if we had a course of women, for instance, a whole course of 350, then I think obviously there's a good chance we'll get some good numbers through. Now, how that reacts on the front line, I've got no idea. All I know is, look, I feel personally that I am a protector. Okay, I feel like, a man's role is to protect. And I think personally, if I was in the field on operations with a woman, and it's not a case of because I fancied her or anything like that, I would have a natural instinct to protect. Okay, so when stuff did happen, my view would be taken away from that and would be focused on that. And I see that as, I'm not saying women couldn't do it, I just think that the reaction of men and women working together in close confines, and especially when things get a bit noisy and a bit tasty, then I think it wouldn't work. That's for me personally.
Okay, it's a very, very honest answer. And certainly from, I've done a lot of work in engineering, and we are looking at ways of bringing more females into the engineering sector. And certainly the way, if you've got a team of all men, they're all 60-something and they're all trying to solve a problem, they're all going to have the same brain trying to solve that problem. Whereas if you throw in a couple of younger generation, and particularly females, who address problems in a slightly different way, provided they've got the right training, you can really come up with some innovative solutions. So in certain industry sectors, I think that are male dominated, I think more females certainly adds a lot of value to that. We have got more questions, but we have sadly run out of time now. Now, I've been told off because I never do a closing slide with a call to action. But that hasn't kind of been my whole mantra with doing these things, really. But because it's the last one, I have decided to stick a closing slide up. If you're interested in any leadership mentoring, if you're interested in doing any work with me to help grow your business or with your teamwork, please do get in contact. Here are my contact details. They will be sent out in the follow-up emails as well. Thank you very much, Ollie. This has been absolutely brilliant. This is exactly what I wanted from a content point of view. I've certainly had a load of private messages come in saying what a brilliant session it was as well. If you did miss the session, then you'll get it on Catch Up anyway, because you'll be sent the link in 2 hours. So thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Ollie. Have a great day.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.